I think it's pretty obvious. I'm a huge H.R. Geiger fan. I find his work pretty mind-blowing, where everything looks organic and alive, but in a very cerebral context. Working on numerous projects with this company called Nathan Love, who are known for their zany commercials. I was pretty enchanted by their hallmark of this quirky ridiculousness that everyone knows them for. I feel this might have rubbed off on me, and is evident in some cases of the game. At Nathan Love, the founder, Joe Buriscano, he was always really extremely passionate about stop motion. Everything the company produced was always pushed to have a handcrafted feel, as though it were made from scratch, no matter how detailed or simple it was. The initial concept for the game came from just doodles in my spare time, simple game mechanics for fun. As I developed these concepts, the game just started taking a life of its own. Generally, a common theme that I always strive to push is this notion of creating a strong juxtaposition between warm, lighthearted versus cold and grotesque. In general, most of the influences just come from being an avid gamer since the 80s, or as long as I can remember. The Guardian Legend, Mega Man, Earthworm Jim, Earthbound, some of the games that have impacted me personally the most. Many of the concepts and the designs used in the game were initially just pet projects I've been developing over the years as a freelancer. A lot of the stop-motion-y feel can also be attributed to the game's graphical assets, which are designed to represent set pieces rather than a tile set, which you would expect to see in most platformers. In general, I find it quite rare for most 2D games to have a high level of graphical fidelity. Most games today will either go one of two routes. They'll go like pixel art or this kind of diorama style 2.5D rendered with Unity or Unreal. I really wanted to make a true 2D game right from the get-go that utilized a lot of the tricks and quirks used back in the 16-bit era before any 3D really came along. This includes things like everything being rendered from sprites, tile parallax backgrounds, and basic pixel fragment shaders. In addition, I wanted to utilize what I've learned over the years to give it that extra flair. For the bosses, there's a wide spectrum of inspiration. I guess a commonality between most of the bosses are their gritted teeth. Several years ago, while I was living in New York, I would often take trips out to this place called 5 Points out in Queens. They're pretty known for their murals. And there was one particular mural that struck me the most. It was basically this heart with the most egregious, striking grin I'd ever seen. And this was the initial thinking behind Mr. Smiles, and later got me thinking, what if there was this entire alien race army of gruesome, faceless grin monsters? Another boss, Sign, or Sin for short, was one of the characters from my senior thesis project back at the School of Visual Arts. Another one is the Creeper, which was inspired by the Ohm from Nausicaa, Valley of the Wind. Going back, this concept has been similarly inspired by many games like Crystallis or Metal Slug. I've been a huge fan of Mega Drive for years now. In fact, just 80s synthwave in general. During production, I swapped in many varieties of music. However, I always kept coming back to Mega Drive. I felt his work fit the best for what I was going for. Well, that's my game.